Hi, folks. I'm Jamie Hiles,
I'm Lydia Judy.
I'm Derek Lemaster.
and this is Screen Bloody Movies, the podcast where we review a horror movie each week, go over the horror news, and we watch films from the master of horror, John Carpenter, this week. In most weeks, if we could, if they made a million John Carpenter movies, that would just be our podcast, guys.
It would be.
It really would.
I'd subscribe to that podcast. It sounds fun.
Yeah, it does. Carpenter a day. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing good.
I'm
How
here.
are you guys?
You're here?
I made it.
That's good. That's the way to go. I'm doing great too. Had a good weekend. Had a good day today. The Cowboys won, so hey, can never go wrong with that. And we got to watch a movie that we'll talk about. Spoiler alert, it's pretty great. So guys, anything you want to talk about before we get into the horror news?
Well, I feel like I should mention that I have a guest with me tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I have not decided on a name yet for him, but he's basically Jake number 2.
You guys help us come up with a name besides Jake 2, because that sounds like a bad sequel.
Yeah.
Jake 2.
The Spawning.
Dan. We'll just call him Dan. He'll need a hat made of leather, but
You should put a leather hat on him.
Yeah, we're going to put so many hats on him. It's already decided. There's going to be a lot of hats.
Yes.
Well, and since Dan is dead, he kind of does represent.
Yeah. That is true. That is true. Dan died for a good cause. Jake jumped down from that tree about 14 times. God bless him. To get the shot just right. And then I think we used an earlier take because it just was better.
Right.
You win some, you lose some. Then you get concussed.
Pain is temporary, guys, but film is forever. So I have a lot to talk about here with the horror news, so let's get into it. Let's start with this little bit. So they are making a new Goosebumps series for Disney Plus, and Justin Long has just been cast.
He's having a bit of a resurgence.
Yes, it says the series follows a group of 5 high schoolers who unleash supernatural. Oh wait, no, this is the. Oh yeah, it is. This is the same. It's not the movie, but it says the series follows a group of 5 high schoolers who unleash supernatural forces upon their town, must work together, thanks to and in spite of their friendships, rivalries, and past with each other, in order to save it, learning much about their own parents' teenage secrets in the process. It sounds a lot like the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was the plot of the movie, right?
Sounds like it.
It didn't dive a lot into like the.
No, not that bit. Since this is a series, they can do that. But the basic plot's the same, right? They just unleashed a bunch of Goosebumps stories, and they had to bring the Goosebumps back in with the help of Jack Black's R.L. Stein.
Right.
Yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts on this? I mean, Justin Long is going to be in it. We don't know what he is yet.
Love Justin Long. Love Goosebumps. Should be great.
Oh, Justin Long will play series regular Nathan Bratt, the new school teacher who develops a terrifying connection to a decades-old supernatural murder.
Ooh.
Spooky.
You know, I know that Goosebumps were originally written for children. I read at least one book.
In your life?
No, in that series. I've read like 7 or 8 books in my life, but
wow.
But anyway, those would be prime to be remade into adult, like a horror series. No, it would be great. I would watch it, and I might be the only one.
Yeah, well, here's
I
the
wouldn't
thing.
say adult, but maybe family, family.
Because the adult, I watched some of those and went through some of them, and they're pretty corny as fuck. I mean,
oh yeah.
Oh no, no. I mean, you could have what I meant to say was like an adaptation, not a direct like copy of the book.
Or
But you
just
could take that
leave-
material and make.
Or just leave Goosebumps to the kids because they need something too.
I mean, I
That's
guess 'cause
true. That
Harold
was like
Sines
the
made
gateway
more
for me.
It's gateway horror
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
It's gateway horror.
love it. I
Well,
still
'cause he
love
did
it.
Fear Street. He wrote Fear
Yes,
Street,
which was
right? Yeah.
more teenage, older kid and young adult oriented. Fear Street was.
Family.
Well, Fear Street was more older people, older family. That's why they adapted Fear Street into R-rated pictures, which were
So
great. We'll get into those.
here, you know what? I'm gonna throw this out here because this is the place to do it. Just I want you to picture this, okay? Are you
Oh,
guys
no.
ready? No, listen. This is a great idea. So I
It
would
was set in the post-apocalypse.
no,
Okay.
no, but I would reboot Scooby-Doo, and I would make it live action, and I would have the kids set in high school as they're just coming together to create like the mystery team. I know it's the Mystery Machine, but you got to have like a name for the team.
It's
But
the
anyway,
Scooby Gang.
the Scooby
Yeah.
Gang. Yeah, I don't know how you do the dog, but like I've got like episodes in my head that I've like mapped out. I say this because my son has literally watched every episode of Scooby-Doo.
They are making a new Scooby-Doo. They have made a new Scooby-Doo cartoon. Where Velma
yeah, it's
has,
cartoon. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I'd turn that into like what is one of the like more recent teen horror things that they put on TV. That's what I'd do to it.
So, guys, I have. Don't hate me, but we've got us some Monsters news.
Dear God, man.
Stop. No.
If you tell me they've already greenlit a sequel, I swear I
It's
will
on the
stop
way,
watching
man. No,
Are you serious?
movies.
no, they didn't. I'm just kidding. But I do have some Monsters news. I'm going to show
Okay.
it with you. We have some NECA figures from the Monsters. Let's check them out.
I can't believe you are talking about this right now.
So, there's Herman.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That looks
very-
pathetic and horrible.
Very blue.
Ah! So you guys aren't feeling this, Herman?
No,
huh?
not that one.
How about Grandpa?
Grandpa's okay. He's okay.
Okay, and that's it. Just those two. Because then it's Invisible Man, which looks great, by the way.
Was he even in the movie?
No, this isn't the Monsters. They're making also the Invisible Man
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
and Dracula, who also looks great.
Now that does look good.
Yeah. So, are you guys going to rush out and get the new NECA Monsters?
I
I mean,
mean, I might
No.
protest at the toy store.
But what do you guys think of?
I think
other
the
ones?
the sculpts are great. Like the sculpt, the artists themselves probably like did an amazing job. But I mean, I'm not interested in collecting any monsters.
Anything from that?
Except we might have to drop the picture of me with the Monsters record.
Yeah.
Here. I was not even this close to buying it, but I
Oh,
had
no.
to take a selfie with it.
You'd have to hear that Sonny and Cher song again.
Oh yeah, I would never wish that upon my enemies even.
Did you put
So-
a post-it by chance on the album and make reference to how bad the movie was?
No, I didn't.
Okay, you're missing out.
Derek
I
used
just-
to do that back in the day at the video store, didn't you, Derek?
Yeah.
I did once to a
Leave
really
little
bad
reviews.
movie.
It was
Let's-
on Beyond the Walls of Sleep.
Yeah, I mean it was short and sweet. I think it just said this movie sucks.
Do not rent. Yeah.
Do not
It's very
rent.
fitting. It's very fitting that someone who would leave post-it notes of reviews would have a movie review podcast.
It is.
It's full circle.
You have
I
to
was
start
honing
somewhere.
my skills.
You gotta start
on
somewhere.
Post-it notes in video stores.
So, guys, this next bit of horror news is horror adjacent. It is the Spawn movie is heading forward with Joker and Captain America 4 writers writing the script for Jamie Foxx led Spawn reboot. What are your thoughts on this?
He's the antagonist in the film, right?
No, Jamie Foxx is the protagonist. He's going to play Al Simmons.
Are you sure? I
Yes.
thought I saw something on this, and I thought he was going to be
Nope.
the villain.
Nope. Fox will star as Al Simmons, a member of the CIA Black Ops team who was betrayed twice. Yep.
It could be that the one that I
Jeremy
saw was
Renner
wrong.
is playing the antagonist, I would imagine. He's attached to it. So I would imagine he's playing the antagonist. But no, what are your thoughts on Jamie Foxx as Al Simmons? I mean, he's a great actor.
He is a great actor.
I don't know anything about the characters.
I thought it was really creative and different and dark. And
it's cheesy.
It had its flaws. It was very
AF,
cheesy,
yeah.
but I had a lot of fun watching it.
Yeah, I liked it when I was younger. Parts of it. There's some parts that the whole hell stuff is N64 graphics.
I was going to
bad.
say, is it because the graphics were bad?
Oh yeah, next level.
CGI
bad.
was terrible.
Oh, I wouldn't even call it CGI. It's literally they plugged an N64 in. And that's what it was. It was the worst.
Look, the only graphic designer we could get was an N64 guy. We got to play in.
So, guys, I texted you this earlier, but we are getting ourselves from director Stephen Lamort. We're getting ourselves it's a free release everywhere, a Grinch slasher movie called The Mean One.
I didn't realize that it was going to be free for anybody to watch, but I saw the still that you sent, and I'm in. I'll watch it.
What do you think, Lydia?
I don't know what to think. I'm like, part of me wants to hate it, but I'm kind of curious, honestly.
So the Mean One, he's not called the Grinch because of copyright,
Right.
But the Mean One is played by David Howard Thornton, who plays Art the Clown.
Oh.
And it says it's a new parody. The Mean One is a hairy, green-skinned grump in a Santa suit living on a mountain high above the town of Newville, despising the holiday season. Young Cindy, whose parents were butchered by the Mean One 20 Christmases earlier, is returning to town to seek closure, but is about to discover that this fiend with a heart 2 sizes too small is still quite eager to carve the roast beast.
So is this going to be more like a Thanksgiving type movie?
I'm thinking it's more like Santa's
Yeah.
Sleigh.
Yeah.
Do you remember Santa's Sleigh, the movie where the wrestler Bill Goldberg, plays a evil Santa Claus?
No.
Nope.
Oh
I
God, you guys are missing out. It's a great
remember,
one.
like,
We'll have to watch that this Christmas.
Okay.
I vaguely remember something like a photo once, but interesting. It's interesting. I'll give it a watch.
Yeah. So it is going to be free everywhere in the U.S. on December 15th. So we might have to check that one out, guys.
Yeah, I wonder how. I mean, like, I'll have to research that. I'm curious.
I think it's going to probably be on YouTube, I would imagine. Maybe available on Prime, and you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, guys, we got some Nosferatu news. Nicholas Hoult is in talks to join Robert Eggers' movie. You guys know Nicholas Hoult from multiple movies.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think of him? I'm guessing he's probably going to play the Harker character, which is named Hutter in the Nosferatu, I do believe.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of him as that role?
I think he would do great. I really think he's a great actor.
Yeah, he's really
He's a good actor. I can't picture the character, but
basically
he does
Jonathan
good in what he
Harker.
does.
He's basically Jonathan Harker.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Nosferatu is Dracula.
Mhm.
It's literally Dracula, and then
Yeah.
we almost didn't have Nosferatu because they were ordered to destroy all the prints due to copyright infringement, but prints survived luckily.
Wow.
Yeah, because they didn't get permission from Stoker's widow who owned the rights, so
Wow.
it was nearly a lost film. Yeah, isn't that wild?
That is crazy.
That's your movie history lesson portion of Screen Bloody Movies.
Love it.
So, guys, this last bit of horror news, we have an image of Fred Armisen as Uncle Fester in the new Wednesday show.
Oh,
Okay.
let me see it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
What
Oh my
the?
gosh.
Can you
He
zoom in
looks
on
so
that?
creepy. He looks so scary.
Oh my god. See, I look at that and it makes me laugh.
You can't not laugh at him. He's so
No.
hilarious. He looks scary though.
What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Oh my gosh. I love
It's
it.
an
I love
interesting
it.
casting.
That's
Although with who they
gonna
have
be
to play
amazing.
Gomez, I mean, it kind of fits.
Yeah, interesting. I agree. I love Fred Armisen, so I'm in, but I'm still kind of keeping this Wednesday show at arm's length, though it does look better than the Munsters, right?
Yeah,
We can agree on that.
I'm getting more and more excited about this Wednesday. Is it a movie?
It's a Netflix series.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I keep getting confused about that, but
Yeah, Derek
every
kept
time we talk
thinking
about
it was
it,
every time Derek kept thinking it was animated every time. Remember? He was like, "This is animated, right?" I'm like, "No, that's him as Gomez," and Derek's like, "What?"
Man, I am such a mega fan of the Addams Family that I just
it's great.
I hope they really nail it with the jokes and the comedy of it.
Yeah,
all.
I'm excited to see it. I mean, it seems more like Sabrina the Teenage Witchy, the Netflix version.
Mm-hmm.
So that it still might be pretty good and pretty fun, but I mean, it's going to be really hard to top those Barry Sonnenfeld 90s Addams Family. So those are just
They're so good.
Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah, they're top notch.
I was just watching some clips on those last night and I was just cracking up.
They're so good. I remember I didn't watch the first one in theaters, but I did see Addams Family Values. Remember going to the movies and seeing it. The joke that still makes me laugh, we'll get to the movie here in a minute, but I love when he says, when they're doing the serial killer trading cards, all I need is Jack the Ripper and that Zodiac guy, both of which were never caught. So,
Yeah.
it's a good joke. And also, the Eat Me song I sing every once in a while.
Eat me! Sauteed or barbecued. Eat me!
Yes.
Oh, man. So, guys, let's get down to business. This week we watched John Carpenter's adaptation of Stephen King's Christine. So, let's start with you, Lydia. What is your experience with John Carpenter's 1983 classic, Christine?
I think I've watched it for the first time in high school on TV.
Mhm.
And it's just like I've always heard of Christine, and my mom was probably talking about it, and I was like, all right, let's watch it since it's on. And I really liked it, but I haven't watched it much since then, and I forgot a lot of it. So I forgot how good it is.
It's almost like a first watch, almost.
Yeah,
right?
it almost was. Yeah.
Yeah. Derek, what is your history with Christine?
Channel 4? Probably on cable TV. Back in the day, it late at night it would show all of the like classic horror movies. So I'm sure that's probably where I seen it the first time. And rewatching this movie, it's been easily, 25 years since I've seen this movie.
Wow. Yeah.
And I still could scenes I knew were in the film, like I could still picture them. Some of the placements I didn't quite get right, but like when I was like, oh yeah, this scene's coming up, Yeah, so it's memorable.
Yeah, there's some really indelible images in the movie that like just stick with you once you see it. Um, this was like a cable movie for me, like a HBO kind of movie. Like that's when I watched it when I was young on like HBO or something like that. And so it was one that I had watched a couple times then, and then in high school I rented it and watched it a few times because I was getting into my once I started becoming like a film buff and knew that that's what I wanted to do, and John Carpenter became John Carpenter. I went through and rewatched, and plus it was a Stephen King movie, so that's why I always remembered it. And then it wasn't until a few years ago, well, several years ago now, probably about 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, I bought the Blu-ray. And once I bought the Blu-ray, I watch it like once a year because it's a dang good one. And I also have the album, as you can see right there, because it has a killer soundtrack that we'll talk about. So yeah, this has always been one that I think people sleep on for when it comes to John Carpenter because it's not. Some people hear the premise and they just dismiss it. Oh, a killer car, all right, and without either reading the novel or watching the movie. And then once you watch it, you're like, this is a very well crafted movie, like a very well crafted, beautifully shot, wonderfully scored, and pretty good great acting in some parts of this movie. So where do you guys want to start?
So real quick, to touch base on something you just said, and I have the hiccups, so I'll try not to make this unbearable. But I think one of the reasons why people might sleep on it as a John Carpenter film is because it's attached to Stephen King.
Yes.
And so whenever they don't say John Carpenter's Christine, anytime you ever heard the advertisement for it, this was Stephen King's Christine.
Yeah, except for the opening titles, which is John Carpenter's Christine. But you're absolutely right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The marketing I ever heard.
Because you're absolutely right. Every other John Carpenter movie, on the poster, it's John Carpenter's Village of the Damned, for instance. Yeah. So every John Carpenter movie has John Carpenter's above it. So you're right. You didn't know that this was a John Carpenter movie for a while, did you?
I didn't. Not until you told. I mean, this was recent.
Yeah.
Until you said it, and I was like, wait, what? I did never associated him with this movie. But now I will because it's a great effing movie.
Yeah, yeah. And it's when you watch it, it's Carpenter with a giant C, right? I mean, definitely. Where do you guys want to start? What do you want to talk about first?
The very beginning, because I got questions.
Okay, go ahead, Derek. What's your question?
So, just to kind of set up how this is happening. So this is 1957, maybe. I think it might.
58. Yep.
58.
Yeah.
And so it starts with an assembly line in Michigan, and you got these cars coming down, and they're all white.
It's playing George Thorogood, Bad to the Bone.
Then they get to that red cherry car, and so here's the question: how did the car get? Like, was it just like Satan was like, "I want that one"? Like, is it ever explained how it comes to be?
There's a shorthand in the movie because it's a movie. In the book, it's more like LaVey, the original owner, George LaVey, and Christine start to kind of merge. Like the obsession kind of starts to take over. And then once LaVey, because he is obsessed with this car, then once he dies, it's almost like his ghost is haunting Christine. In the movie, they thought it would just be cooler, and Stephen King loves this, that Christine's just born bad. She's just born bad. That's why it's bad to the bone when she rolls out of the assembly line. She's just born bad. That's the explanation. She's just born bad.
Okay, there wasn't anything that I missed, and
no,
that's good because she kills two people right away.
Yeah, we meet her at her birth, and then we just see that she's immediately born bad. I love this
love-
opening. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Like that guy puts his hand on the radiator and he like looks underneath, and she like slams her hood down on his hand. And then the guy who flips the. By the way, I'm so glad he died. The guy who flips his ashes on her seat, and she's like, "I ain't taking this shit." And then she kills him. I don't know how she killed him, but she killed him.
Yeah, he dies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got what he
do you think
deserved.
what do you think of this opening, Lydia?
Loved it. I was really distracted by the song.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great song. Yeah.
It is great. I was into it.
Yeah. And then freaking the start of Carpenter's score kicks in. What I really love about this movie is the opening credits has no music. It just has a revving car engine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
cool, right?
Yep.
I really
did
like that. And we get the cool Christine font.
Yeah, there's a couple of scenes in this movie where like they get the music just perfect.
Mhm.
Just perfect. Like there's a scene where and I'm terrible with names and I don't have them pulled up here. So Arnie's friend is
Yeah, Dennis.
Dennis breaks into the garage and like goes to check out Christine, and then it kicks on, "I hear you knocking, but you can't come in." I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that's so great."
Yeah, it's great stuff.
Yeah, they did
let's
great
talk-
with the movie or with the music. It's perfect.
Let's talk about Arnie and Dennis. What do you think of, because the next scene is them. We're introduced to them.
Mhm.
And we get introduced to Arnie as this nerd kind of, well, not kind of, he is just a dweeb. And then Dennis is a jock, very popular. But it's his best friend. They've been friends since they were kids. So Dennis has like this kind of brotherly love of Arnie and kind of just looks out for him. What do you guys think of the characters in their relationship in the beginning? We'll get to the end when that arc starts to happen.
I think it's super sweet. I love seeing like a friendship like this that's like kind of unconventional standards of friends. They're like, I mean, you see it a lot in movies really, but it's like it feels so much more genuine in this movie than in some other ones.
Yeah, the performances I think really help that.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. What do you think, Derek?
So I'm kind of glad that because a lot of times in these movies, like even like they might start out as friends, but then because the one guy's super nerdy and the other guy's a jock, like part of the story will be them splitting apart. But that does not happen here. Like, it kind of does when Arnie
Turns bad. Yeah, breaks
turns
bad.
bad.
Yeah.
But his friend Dennis is always like looking out for him, and there's a fight scene with a guy who's definitely
we'll get
not
to
in
that.
high school.
We'll get to that scene.
But-
Yeah.
But it is very endearing. It's a good scene, and it does come across as very genuine.
Yeah, I love their little banter in the car when we're first meeting them, and we get to develop their characters, and we see their friendship. In the opening, this movie almost plays like a high school like comedy, like a coming of age movie. We see him in high school, and I really like both the actors in these roles.
Yeah.
I think freaking Keith Gordon as Arnie puts in a banger of a performance.
Yes.
And John Stockwell is very good as Dennis as well. But I love when they're in the locker, or they're in the hallway, and we first meet Lee. She's walking down, and that dude's like saying a bunch of terrible, vulgar shit. And he's like, "What do you think about letting Red China into the UN?" He's like, "I think we already did that." Yeah. Do you think it was a good idea? Like he's just trying to make it seem like he's smart or something.
Yeah.
And then I like Arnie making fun of him. He's like saying little jokes to him, and then he's like, "Shut up, Cunningham." And then I love the bit with the locker, how he can't get the locker to open.
Yep.
And then
Yeah.
Dennis is just so cool. He just hits it and it pops open. And he's like, "What the? How'd you do that?" Good little shorthand for Dennis is cool. Arnie's not cool. So let's talk about that scene you were just talking about, Derek. Let's talk about Buddy Ripperton. the reason,
go ahead.
yeah, you said that guy's definitely not in high school. Buddy has been held back multiple times. Like,
I mean, you would have had to have been held back for like a decade. That guy had to be in his 30s, man.
dude, I don't want to name names, but do you remember a person that we went to high school with that was literally held back, like 5 years?
No.
Yeah, I'll tell you off mic who it is and talk about it.
Just say it and we'll bleep it.
Okay, it's a male motherfucker.
Oh my god. Yeah, you should have seen him play baseball.
He was like he was on the junior varsity in his like fourth senior year.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
it happens, you know, it happens. At least he stuck it out.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And do you remember I told you guys a story about the woman who Billy Madisoned her way through my high school, right?
Yeah, dude, she was my babysitter.
Yeah. You know
when I
what
was
I'm
a
talking about.
toddler. Yeah.
You never heard the story, Lydia?
No.
There's a woman that came back. Don't say the name.
I was
There's
quoting
a woman-
Rockets.
Woman we went to high school with, when I was in high school, like a sophomore, she just appeared one day and she was like in her late 20s. She Billy Madison back through high school. And I was like, all right. I don't know who this person is. So let's talk
Hey, can
about
you buy me
Buddy.
beer?
Let's talk about Buddy and his gang. Because there's a lot of familiar faces in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were.
Yes. The dude with the curly hair is the dude that gets electroshocked at the beginning of Ghostbusters.
Oh.
And then the other friend is the nerdy guy from Friday the 13th Part 2.
I knew it.
Yes.
I knew it.
Yes.
No, I didn't know it. I had the wrong guess, but I was on the right track.
You were on the right track. That's all that matters. What do you guys think of Buddy and his gang?
I think they're assholes.
Total dick bags, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not cool.
for sure. Well, the
Like,
fact
really-
that he pulls a... Go ahead,
Like
Lydia.
they're pretty much criminals. Like
Yeah.
they're pretty bad. They should not be in school, I don't think.
To quote a Strickland, they're slackers.
Yeah. What did you guys think of this scene?
It's pretty intense. It's scary. It's kind of infuriating, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. That this guy, just because he's a loser in his life, just has to bully poor Arnie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Although I really want to know what he had in his lunch bag, because whenever he pulls out the switchblade and he cuts it, like it almost seems like he had milk in there or something.
It was yogurt. It was
It was
yogurt.
yogurt.
Yeah, when he drops it, you
Mom
see the
says
yogurt.
it at the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yep, and you see it.
When did yogurt become like a thing? I don't even know. Anyway,
She was like,
It was definitely around in 1978.
yeah. The mom hands him his lunch and he drops all the trash on the ground or something. Or all
Yeah, at the beginning. Yeah.
and then she was like, try to keep that cold because there's yogurt in there.
Mm-hmm. Then he stabs it.
And he's like, could not look like less cool.
No, he
His
could
mom's
not.
telling him about yogurt.
He could not. And like, what the hell? So Dennis disarms Buddy and punches him, knocks him on his ass. And then Stephen First just comes over and grabs him by the dick.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Bold move. Bold move.
Yeah. No,
That's a
yeah.
strategy. Let's see how that works out for him, Cotton.
Well, and then, I mean, later he gets out of a truck driver's truck. I mean, maybe
he's
he was
in.
trying to tell us something, but yeah, that was a very weird move on his behalf.
I guess it's to show how underhanded they are and how, like,
Yeah.
not only are they ganging up on somebody 3-1, then it's 3-2, but they resort to grabbing crotches and stuff. Like, they're just cowards.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
And I love when the shop teacher comes in and he like starts pushing. He calls him, what does he call him? C face? Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he's like, I don't have to take that filth from you. And he's like shoving him around. He's like, you bald fucker.
That was like the most infuriating thing, is that teacher was just so like, he clearly wasn't okay with any of that.
Oh no.
But like he knew he like didn't like he knew that guy could take him.
Well, and he also knew he probably had a knife.
Yeah.
So he's just
definitely
like,
had a knife.
he's like, here's what's gonna. Well, we knew that, but he was like, here's what's gonna happen. Either empty your pockets or I'm calling the cops. So he emptied his pockets, and then they're like, well, guess what? You're kicked out of school now. You fucking psycho, bringing a switchblade to school. What's wrong with you? There's a really funny cut here where after all that happens, it shows Dennis and Arnie driving in the car, and he has like his taped up glasses, and he goes, well, all in all, that wasn't a bad first day of school.
Yeah.
He's missing like most of his lens.
Yeah, he had to like tape it, and yeah, poor. And then we meet Christine. What do you guys think of this scene?
Real quick before we get past the switchblade thing, I got in trouble one time because I brought a switchblade comb.
I remember those.
Oh yeah.
To school, and first off, I definitely shouldn't have. That's like bringing a toy gun to school. Like,
yeah.
What was my mom thinking? But anyway,
I mean, it's a comb.
It is a comb, but the teacher, she felt like, oh, like, why do you have this thing? Anyway, she took it from me, and then I forgot to get it back after class, and then she lost it, and then she had to give me like $15 to replace it.
Oh,
I know.
Was the comb really that much?
I have no idea. It wasn't even mine, man. It was like, I think it was Jay's.
So are you saying you just got a free $15 out of this deal?
Yeah.
It's not a bad.
It took a while to collect, but yeah, I was like, "Hey, do you have that?" And she was like,
Did you like chase her around on a bicycle? I want my $15.
No, I did buy her some globes one time as like book ends because I loved that teacher. She was so nice. I got her a Christmas present.
Here's some globes.
No, it was like holders for books, but they were globes because she was a teacher. You know what I mean?
Like your book ends.
Yeah.
Yes, bookends. There you go.
Oh my gosh, Derek, you and your stories, I swear.
There's something. You're totally
Wait
derailing
till I
this.
tell you about the teacher that I smacked in the butt.
Tell me about. We'll talk about that at the end of the podcast. So this next scene, we meet Christine, and we meet LaVey's brother. So first of all, before we start, you guys know who LaVey's brother is too, right?
Yeah, he's from Home Alone, right?
It's Old Man Marley.
Oh yeah.
Old Man
Man,
Marley.
I knew I recognized him.
South Bend Shovel Slayer.
Nice.
He gives a great performance too. I love his performance in this. He's like perfectly creepy and like he's got that gaunt look. He looks great. It's a great look for that character. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love when he comes back. I think his dialogue and like the conversation is deeper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great. So what do you guys think of when Arnie gets Christine? Like, first of all, she looks like just a pile of crap. And Arnie's just immediately obsessed. Like, she immediately gets the hold on him because he's a loser and he needs something in his life. And so she preys upon that, pretty cool the way it works
powers,
out.
Man, at just a glance to hook somebody like that.
Yep. Well, it's just enough because he was looking for something. You know what I mean? He needed, especially after the confrontation with Buddy. Like he just feels like he has nothing. We find out that he's a virgin. We find out that his mom, by the way, is really kind of a B at the beginning of this movie.
Hardcore capital. B-I-T.
Like the way she not only we knew what you were saying, Derek, you didn't have to continue to spell it. Was that just to prove to us you knew how to spell it?
No, it wasn't. It was just something I say sometimes.
I say sometimes. Jesus criminy.
Catchphrase.
That's
Lydia, I want a T-shirt that says BIT.
Dash.
I want one that just says it's something I say sometimes. That's all the T-shirt.
That's you put that on the back.
Well,
just
yeah.
something I say sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's too much. Anyway, yeah, so we're drip fed little pieces of information regarding Christine in this first encounter. Just little bits. Like, my brother's dead. My brother loved this car.
Mhm.
I'm willing to sell, which, by the way, Arnie buys it for $250, which was about $1,000 in modern money.
I'm glad
That's
you- yeah,
crazy.
that car was not worth that.
No!
1,000?
That's basically $1,000. Yeah. So that's why, because nowadays, if he was like, yeah, $300, we'd be like, okay, yeah, sure. That seems reasonable. You know, we can work on it, fix it up. The chassis alone's probably worth that. Yeah, but you know, that's $1,000 in 1978 when the car is not what it is now, even. You know what I mean? Like, now it would be like a more of an antique because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
50 years old. But then it was 20 years old. So yeah, he just immediately, I love when he says, how much are you offering? Whatever it is, it's not enough. And he's just
Yeah.
like, Arnie, shut up. You're a terrible negotiator, first of all.
Yeah, he's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, just,
You can get it for so much less.
yes, just stop. And he's just like, oh, $300, but for you, I'll give it to you for 200. He's like, deal, writing the check.
So here's the thing that I don't understand. I don't understand because he says his brother bought it brand new right off the line.
Mhm.
Right. So in 20 years, it only killed the guy at the factory. It injured the guy at the factory as well, but and then it killed the dad, the wife, and the daughter.
Mhm.
Well, that's all that we know about.
That is true.
That's
but
all
I
we
just
know
feel
about.
like how fast it worked
Well,
through Arnie.
You can't, no, remember there's a bit where he says, if anybody came between George and Christine, they better watch out. So basically, we don't know how many people had died when they tried to come in between this guy and his car.
I guess I just
Yeah,
was
I mean, we don't have
interesting.
a complete history of Christine.
Could she shoot Arnie up and spit him out?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's because Arnie went deeper. Like, he ended up killing himself after he lost everything, and he was an older guy. Arnie just was, he got Arnie when he was just perfect prime target for it. So what do you guys, let's talk about the parents while we're here, because this is the bit where, like we said, she's kind of a B, and the dad's kind of a fucking cuck, essentially. Like, he's just a spineless coward. And we get Arnie's confrontation with him, and we can already start to see the change, like, immediately, from him driving to the house. And I love that cut. Like, they're just standing in the living room, and Dennis is just pouring a glass of milk. She's like, "You did what?" He's just like, She's like, "Why didn't you, what's going on? Why didn't you stop?" "I tried to stop him." "Well, you don't seem like you tried too hard." I was like, why is it fucking his responsibility?
Right?
Yeah. He voiced his opinion. I mean, short of taking his pen, I guess they couldn't fill out the check. Like,
Yeah.
the mom is she was a real winner.
Yeah.
And we'll get to it. Like, there's another scene with them where, obviously he crosses a line, but
yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah. After this, we're introduced to Darnell at Darnell's garage because he takes Christine there. What do you guys think of Mr. Darnell?
Love him.
He seems like a hard teddy bear.
Yeah, I think he's just such a funny, foul mouth. Like,
He totally is. But again,
he
like,
has a soft spot for Arnie. He has a soft spot. He does,
yeah. Because there's a point, and it's kind of a offhanded. I don't think that Arnie meant to say it, but like when he was like, "Hey, you're here, you're pillaging through my stuff," and not all this stuff's for free. And then he kind of like lightens up a little bit, and he was like, if you pick up over the shop, if you put some toilet paper on the things, and maybe I'll even chip in some money, and you can do whatever you want. He's like, oh, I'll think about it.
Yeah, I love that. Well, don't think about it too long.
Yeah.
Turns back into an asshole. Yeah.
Guy is a tough exterior.
Yeah.
To get through, and
he's very interesting character. Like, I love him. He's always chomping his cigar. My favorite joke is when he's like, "No smoking's allowed in here," and Dennis is like, "Excuse me, Mr. Darnell, but those guys are over there smoking. They're all like playing poker."
Yeah.
And he's like, "I don't take the wise asses."
Yeah. I love, because he's just putting on like a tough front, like immediately.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just to lay down the rules, like, you're not messing around in here.
If I catch you driving that, what do you call it, mechanical asshole? I think that's what it was. That's
something like that, asshole. Yeah.
Yeah. Mechanical asshole around here again without a hose on it. You're out of here. Yeah, it's great. So let's talk about Lee. What do you guys think of Lee?
She seems like a really nice, smart young lady. Very pretty.
Yeah.
Got a bright future, Yeah. That's how they make her out, anyways.
Yeah. What do you think, Derek?
Was she in Night of the Comets?
Night of the Comet? No. Well, maybe. It's
She seems familiar, but yeah, exactly to what Lydia said. Everything that Lydia just said. That's a good representation of her.
No, you're thinking that's not her. You're thinking of oh crap, I'm gonna have to look up her name now. I know who you're talking about.
They look
I love
a little similar. Yeah.
We'll have to do that sometime. You're thinking of Catherine Mary Stewart. Plays Reg. Yeah, we'll do Night of the Comet. That's one of my jams. Yeah, so basically Dennis goes to ask her out and she's already dating somebody.
Yeah.
She has a date and we don't know who it is yet. But next time Dennis goes to see Arnie, he's already like starting to be too cool for school. He, ditches their plan to go to the movies, to go work on the car, go work on Christine. And he, the mom asks him, what's gotten into him? And he's like, I don't know. I barely see him anymore. He's dressed different, not wearing his glasses anymore.
Yeah.
One of the things I really love about the Arnie character is that as he gets further and further into LaVey land, he starts to dress more and more like a 50s greaser.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
It's so wild to see.
Yeah, because it's subtle at first, button-up shirt with a black undershirt, and then, black with a, vest, and then it becomes he's wearing James Dean's jacket from fucking Rebel Without a Cause by the end of it, So he's just
hair too.
Yep, his hair starts to slit, everything. Just he starts talking more like the 50s.
So that and context matters in all aspects of life, but so that does make more sense that the way that you phrased it at the beginning, where LaVey loved this car and eventually his personality rubbed off, as opposed to her just being born that way. To the way Arnie looks, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, it's kind of she's turning him into LaVey.
Yeah, or if you were to look at it from the other perspective, and not that she was born bad, but he's kind of getting possessed by LaVey,
which was in King's novel, correct? That's how it was.
Makes sense.
So yeah, we get this. Arnie Dennis decides that he's going to check out Christine because there's just something weird about this car. So he sneaks into Darnell's, and this is where we get the scene you were talking about, Derek. With
it's classic.
He tries to get in, and it plays "You Keep on Knocking, but you can't come in." Mm-hmm. So he hightails it out of town.
Scares the bejesus out of him.
Yep. And then we get the football game next. What do you guys think of this scene?
It's
Man, this scene is pretty cool. It's crazy. It's so scary, but I really like how it's like set up.
Yeah,
Like
the
when
setup
he
is
sees
great.
them.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was like, no, that's crazy. It's
The
so
only-
intense. It's like anxiety. Like it gives me anxiety thinking about it.
Yeah,
What,
the
Derek?
one thing that came to my mind was, man, he really like beat the coverage on that play.
Oh yeah, dude, he totally burnt. He burnt the corner. Corner was toast. I think they
'Cause,
probably had a linebacker on him because he was in the backfield, so he burnt that linebacker. But yeah, it's I love the way it's shot too. Like we see, and we get his point of view, zoom, running up to them
Mm-hmm.
on the towards the end zone on the sideline, and then he just gets wrecked. And then Carpenter does this wonderful. After everybody, everybody's, oh, we need a stretcher, and Arnie and Lee walk up. Everybody leaves, and John pans to Christine sitting there because she caused it.
Watching.
Yeah, and she caused it with her evil.
She totally did.
Yeah,
This is also the scene where Christine catches the eye of
Buddy.
Buddy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Derek, what's his nickname for Arnie?
I don't recall.
Do you recall it, don't you, Lydia? You guys don't. Dang it! I was trying to trick one of you into saying it.
What?
He calls him not Cunningham, but
yes, I remember.
yeah,
I know what I would get out of that, but
that's what he calls him the whole time. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a really cool guy, Buddy Ripperton. He's a really cool guy with his
real
with
cool.
his John Travolta looks.
Chops. He got the chops from hell.
He just got done watching Welcome Back, Kotter, and was like, "That's what I want to be." Yeah. So Dennis is put in a hospital, and we get like basically a time jump. We see that he's been in hospital for quite a few weeks, and there's something I really do like, that even though Arnie's is still becoming possessed, he still cares enough about Dennis to always go back and check on him and visit him in the hospital. And Dennis can see these changes from them. And it really makes me sad when it ends up happening, because their friendship was so tight, and it just sucks that what happens to him.
Mm-hmm.
But I love when he shows up at the hospital with this little 5,000 Dirty Limericks book, and they have like a little fun dialogue, and he's like, "You are dating her?" And he's like, "What can I tell you? She loves my body." He likes there's great banter between them still and stuff. But he's starting to see that Arnie's just different.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "I'm surprised He's like, "I'm surprised they let you registered." He's like, "I told him I'd drop out of college or drop out of school if they didn't." And he's like, "Are you serious?" "Yeah." And you're like, wow, he's definitely starting to change.
Yeah. It's so cool too that because really they're perfect, because all the guys in the school want that girl, the new girl that's so pretty and smart, and he is actually intelligent and is I respect her mind. I just they seem like an actual really cute couple.
Well, that's why she got with him, but then he starts turning into
and
bad Arnie.
How horrible is that to see him treat her bad?
Oh, dude,
so bad.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the drive-in movie scene. What are your guys' thoughts?
It's man.
I mean, honestly, it felt like the biggest reservation she had with moving forward with anything was she felt really uncomfortable in that car.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And not only did she feel uncomfortable in it, but she feels uncomfortable with his obsession with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He just, she says, "You spend more time with that car than you do me."
Yeah. She says she hates the car.
Yeah. I mean, they're making out in the car. He's getting to second base, and she's grabbing his junk. And then she's just like, I can't. This is just You know, it's this car. It creeps me out. I feel like it's watching me. You know, the radio comes on and plays by itself. I just don't like it. He's like, "Come on in. You're gonna catch a cold." And what do you guys think of the scene where she's choking in the car?
Oh my gosh, this is one of the scenes that I remembered, and I wasn't sure like how it ended. Like I was like, I remembered her like dying in the car from this scene, you know, like from watching it years ago. So I was like, oh my gosh, are they really just gonna like kill her off right here? But they don't, thank God, because
yeah,
that was scary.
What do you think of this scene, Derek?
I mean, pretty much the same vein. It definitely does try to take her out, and I love how anytime that the car is going to do something bad, it illuminates green.
Yeah,
which is interesting take. It also reminded me of another movie that's a Stephen King movie. It was
the Tommyknockers.
The Tommyknockers. You got it. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, it illuminates green and it gets real bright in the
that
cab
real
of that
bright
car.
is so cool. Yeah.
That is
she's like
so
choking
scary.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, and it's like playing that song to her, and then
I love this song too.
And then that guy comes out and gives her the Heimlich, and Arnie tries to stop him. He says it's because he thought he was attacking her, which he probably did. But it's also part of the pull of the car.
Yeah.
Because most people, you or me, if we weren't obsessed with Christine, we would have broke that window. That window would have been history, you know, to try to get to her.
Mhm.
And he's just trying to open the door. He is trying to get to her, but he's just trying to open the door.
He didn't realize she was choking.
Yeah, I mean, the way Christine lures him out, too, by stopping the wiper and making him get out to mess with it. Yeah, that's an intense scene. That's a good one. And then that scene after, Lydia, when you were talking about how he treats her badly.
Yeah.
The scene after on the porch.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. It's
Because
upsetting.
Yeah, well, especially when she drops the stuff and he grabs her basically by her hair and he's like, "I just think you're sexually repressed," and tries to kiss her, and the lights come on, and he like scrambles away, turns back into that teenage boy. It's a good choice. It's good
freaky.
stuff.
That is so freaky.
Yeah. So,
and you know, the sad thing is, like, if he would have, as just his normal self without Christine, if he would have had more confidence,
yeah,
he totally could have had that girl.
Yeah, because he's smart. He's a good-looking guy. You know, when he says he's ugly, you know, he says that he's not, you know, Dennis tells him, "You're not ugly, Arnie. You're not ugly." And it's like, and then they have like a homophobic joke because it's the 80s.
That's how it goes.
But I just love that he, you know, is trying to build his confidence up. And that's all he needed. But instead, he gets this obsession and he feeds it, which he talks about later in the movie. So Buddy and the gang go in and they destroy Christine. They wreck her.
Sledgehammer.
Oh my gosh. That was an intense scene too.
You're just waiting for something to happen, right?
Right, yeah. You're like, this is not good for you guys.
And nothing happens in the scene, you know?
Yeah.
She just
gets demolished.
Yeah, she just gets demolished. And you're just like, okay. And this is the other part where he treats Lee like crap.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this in my opinion is the worst.
Yeah.
Because he like snaps on her and it's like, it looked like he was going to hit her.
Yeah, he calls her a shitter.
Yeah.
And that's the first time he's used it. Then the rest of the movie he uses it. That's a LaVey word.
Yep.
Shitter. We skipped something. Let's talk about when Dennis goes back to see LaVey's brother.
Yeah.
Derek, you alluded to this. Talk about this for me.
Well, he goes back to get more answers because he finds out that somebody died in the car.
So he finds out from so
when they register it.
Yeah, so two things. Darnell mentions that somebody he knew a mean son of a bitch that died in a car like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then his mom talks about when the car gets registered that somebody committed suicide in it.
Mhm.
So Dennis knows who it is. Continue.
Yep. And so he goes back to kind of get some answers. And so then he starts going through the history of the car. How his brother was obsessed with the car. And like, I think first it killed his daughter.
Yeah, she choked 5-year-old daughter. Yeah.
Yeah. Which then is also like a connection to what just happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then his wife, I'm pretty sure she died of carbon monoxide poisoning.
I don't remember how she died, but yeah, she died in the car. We know that much.
Yeah, she died
He
in the
dies
car.
of carbon monoxide poisoning. LeVay does. He runs a hose through it
Yeah.
from the tailpipe to the car.
Yeah, and at some point, like he got rid of the car, and then 2 weeks later, it showed up. It just showed up.
Yeah, because he said,
like drove.
Yeah, because he said 2 weeks later it was back. He said, "What do you mean it came back?" And he just doesn't answer. He just looks at him. And you're like, "Oh, you son of a bitch! You sold it knowing this."
Yeah, not his problem anymore.
Yeah, that's how he feels. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, let's talk about the resurrection scene.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best scenes in the movie. Christine's
I don't know how they did
resurrection. I know how they did it. It's actually pretty ingenious.
Yeah, I know how they did it too.
Yeah. So how they did it?
Crash a car and then reverse.
They did it in reverse. Yeah, they had suction, so it would suck from the inside and suck it in, and then they just reversed the film.
Okay.
So it
wasn't as bad as I thought.
So it's so cool.
But the way they do it, it's beautiful. Like
they nailed it.
It looks way better than CG would have. Way better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, and this was 1983, so you're like, oh, it has to be CG.
It's
and
real.
Like, oh no, they really did this.
It's real life. Like it looks so good.
This scene is amazing, right? It's just
because I love that they give a timeline. They periodically show you a date to give you an idea of how much time has passed, right? So this car goes to looking like it came out of a scrapyard to $1 million.
Yeah, in no time at all.
So,
yeah,
but this is the first time, and it almost, because he says, "Show me."
Dude, that's when he says that. That's the absolute best.
It's so good.
Because it says, because we get that cool push in on Arnie, and he says,
"Okay, show me."
And then we go behind him and the headlights go bing and we get the fucking score kick in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where I was like, this is everything. Yeah, this is it. This is cinema. Yeah. And then we watch it just rebuild itself with Carpenter's fucking kick-ass score.
Yeah.
Kicking in. So good. So good.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. It's so just iconic. It's one of those that's always stuck in my head. Like
I love it. I love it when something is so scary that you're like rooting for it,
Yeah.
Like at this point, you're like up until then, you're like, oh no, Arnie's turning bad. Like the car's bad. This is all bad. And then you're like, oh my God, I love this.
Yeah, well, you're at least wanting her to get revenge on those shitters that broke her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's talk about Stephen First's death is first. He the chubby one. Derek, when we were talking off mic, you said that this is one of your favorites.
It is, because the way it's set up, this is a wonderful shot. Because he gets out of the truck and crosses the street, he's like under a bridge or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And as he goes to walk past one of the pillars, you see the car come into focus. And then the lights come on. And then it like pulls out from the thing and it chases him.
Yeah,
and
this chase scene's so good, isn't it?
This chase scene, the ending is like amazing because she corners him in a like short alley. The alley doesn't have an end, right? So it's more or less just like an indentation of a building.
Yeah, it's like a dock of a building.
And man, dude, that's so cool. She just like pushes her way in there, destroys the side of her car, and to get to the point where she destroys herself getting to him to crush him.
Yeah.
Then when she pulls out and just fucking I don't know if you see it, but
We
like,
don't
You
see
don't
it,
see
it's,
it.
but it's in your brain. You
yeah,
imagine
she
it.
rebuilds herself.
They
That's
say
so neat.
they say later that he was cut in half.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that she had to scoop her legs up with a
Uh,
shovel. And Arnie says, "When that what you're supposed to do with shit, pick it
Yeah.
up with a little shovel."
yeah.
Yeah.
That's when he's real bad.
Oh yeah.
What do you get? But so this scene's awesome, right, Lydia?
Yes. Awesome. It's a good word.
Second best death in the.
Yeah, we'll get to the best one. We'll get to the best
Yeah.
one. So yeah, I love it. I love the music when the music kicks in and that Carpenter beat, and just like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
In the way the freaking headlights just look in the dark. My favorite shot, besides the bridge shot, Derek, is after he escapes and he's on the empty street, and we just see the car come around the corner in the distance. So cool, because you're just like, there it is, run.
The music. I have to say, I'm a massive oldies fan, so I loved all of the music that they played in this. I can't get enough.
The music, the actual music's good, and then Carpenter's score is just, you know. So let's talk about the other deaths, because, well, first, the detective comes and visits him, like we talked about, and he talks to Dennis about it, and he's like, yeah, that shitter got what it deserved, and all this stuff. And that's when he's starting to be like, why you keep talking? He's starting to put the pieces together himself. Dennis is like, you're acting really weird. And what do you mean they got what they deserve? That doesn't sound like you. So Buddy and Curly Hair are driving around in his muscle car, being total D-bags, like speeding, being douches. And he chases them, like he runs to the gas station where old Friday the 13th boy is working. And Christine, pulls up and just wrecks his car, dude. That's kind of like a cheer moment, isn't it? When she crushes that car.
Love it.
You're like, oh man.
The whole chase is so good. Ugh.
Yeah. It's so suspenseful. And dude, Christine rams in through the thing, kills curly haired guy, and then catches the whole garage on fire and blows up Friday the 13th guy. And it like catches on fire. Christine pulls out on fire and starts chasing after Buddy, who's running on foot. And the whole gas station explodes in one of those beautiful 80s explosions that we love.
Yes.
Glorious.
That is a glorious explosion.
And then Christine is chasing Buddy while she's on fire and runs him over and catches him on fire.
Yes.
Derek, you're muted, by the way.
Mother.
Got him.
Yeah, that is like one of the coolest scenes I can remember seeing. Like it's so amazing. I'm just kind of in awe. Like that's one of the scenes. Like I said, I hadn't seen this movie in 25 years. That's one of the scenes that I remember seeing as a kid. Like it's that iconic that I can remember it from that far back. But also, how scary is that going to be if you're the one running down the road and he's running hard,
and you just see this car on, like, it's like the Terminator before the Terminator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like unstoppable. This unstoppable killing machine still coming. It's on fire.
Yeah,
and it's still coming. That's so scary, and it's shot so beautifully. And how we ramp up to him running, and we just see, she runs him over, and he's on fire, laying in the middle of the road.
Well,
a
thing that even adds an element to that is like it switches to the behind, and she goes for a couple beats, and nothing happened. And then all of a sudden, you see this like thing tumble out from underneath her, and it's on fire, and you're just like, that's Buddy.
Yep. Well, bye, Buddy.
Yeah.
Don't miss you because you were a prick.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
Beautiful
that's
scene.
my favorite kill of the movie. I think
That's one of my favorite kills, I think, I've
ever.
seen in any movie. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a great one.
It's so good.
It is a great one.
This is where I was like, I can't believe that a movie about an evil car is this good.
Yeah, it's
Like-
kind of what kind of alchemy, right?
Yeah, it's so brilliant and beautifully done. Like, but I was also at the same time I was thinking like, get off the road.
Yeah, but that doesn't help.
That's the car's natural habitat, you know. Like,
Yeah,
But
go
we
run through
see-
some mud, buddy.
go
we
like,
see-
run up
we
a
saw-
tree or something.
Yeah.
Doesn't have four-wheel drive.
Yeah, we saw that running off the road doesn't help though, because Stephen first ran off the road, and Christine just followed him
Right.
and ran through a fence and then crushed him in an alley. So she's just will not be denied.
True.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes in any horror movie too. It's just
I'm just
Awesome.
saying, like, just try a little harder. You know,
Yeah.
at least that guy tried to get off the road.
to be fair, I think Buddy was probably shitting himself and didn't know what was going on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's like, hell car is right behind me.
It's not stopping. It's not
Yeah.
stopping.
Yeah.
That's an appropriate term. Hellcar.
Hellcar. Yeah.
I mean,
Specifically
it's
for that
on
scene.
fire.
Yeah,
Like, it is a
it's-
flaming car that just killed your friends, all of them.
So Christine pulls into Darnell's garage smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She pulls in
Sorry.
smoking,
Toasted.
and Darnell's there. He sees this. So he grabs his shotgun. And he's like, "What are you doing? You need to get out of the car." Tries to open it. It's hot. Burns his hand. So he gets in the car and decides to sit in it like an idiot. I don't know why he did this. Because I think the car has that pull, I guess. But
Yeah.
He-
He's like, oh, I'll just get in it.
yeah, so he sits in it, and then she starts pushing her seat forward and crushes him between the steering wheel and the seat.
God, I hate that.
So this scene I remember, and this I told you like they weren't in the same order that I thought they were. I
Mhm.
thought that this was the opening scene.
Ah,
I expected the guy who got in the first time to get crushed by the seat going forward, but then
Mm.
it happened here. So
to be
I
fair, he
got it
might
confused.
have, because we don't see how he dies.
We don't. You're right. We
So he
don't.
could have. But yeah, it's so scary too. Like, just that'd be terrible. Be crushed to death. So Arnie comes back the next day and sees that there's cops there at his work, and that they're all around Christine, who, by the way, looks cherry, not a scratch on her. Beautiful, just sitting there. And so the cops, the detectives, like, people saw you driving around. He was like, I was out with Darnell's car getting parts. It wasn't me. I was home all night. And the brilliant thing that Carpenter does at this point is Christine's windshield is always blacked out. So we never know if it's Christine or if Arnie was driving.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that she's supernatural, of course, because we've seen her we've seen her do stuff, but we don't, and we've seen her regenerate, but we don't know if Arnie was involved at this point. We just don't know.
Yeah.
And it keeps it vague. He does have an alibi, and he does seem shocked because he says why. Because he definitely didn't. We know that she was by herself when she came home.
Right.
Because Darnell gets there, and he asked why, like, genuinely why she killed Darnell. He's like, kind of seems saddened by it,
Yeah.
like, why? And this is where Arnie just goes off the deep end. So he calls Lee again and is horrible to her on the phone.
Yep.
Because basically Christine's trying to get him to, I think, have her come back so she can kill her.
That's what I gathered too.
Yeah, it's like there's unfinished business.
Yep.
And then Dennis is out of the hospital by this point, and Lee calls him and he's like, I need to talk to you about Christine. And so they kind of start forming like a team, like to try to save Arnie. And they're like, we've got to. Which what I'm really glad that they didn't do is make them a romantic item. They kept them as we're here to protect Arnie. You know what I mean?
They did get a little
flirty.
close.
They're a little flirty, but it's not like they don't like make out. They don't kiss.
They were like kind of like hugging and stuff.
Yeah, but I
She
think
laid
that's
his head on her shoulder.
Yeah,
No.
I think that's him trying to comfort her. And
Yeah.
because that literally is that. And then, they separate and he's like, we'll do what we can to get, protect Arnie. Because she said, what if Arnie, because he said, I'm meeting him for New Year's. And she's like, well, what if Christine won't let you? And, what if Christine won't let you get him alone? And he said, well, then we'll destroy her. We'll destroy it. So she comes over, or she leaves and hides and she sees Christine. It's so scary. She's like hiding because she sees Arnie pull up and Christine. What do you guys think of this scene with Arnie and Dennis and Christine, where he's drinking and just going mad?
There's a scene where they're going around a curve and he has his hands off the wheel and he was like, look at this wheel alignment. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
herself.
she turns perfectly. Yeah. And he's like, don't worry about it. And he says, as long as we're pals, we're always going to be pals as long as you don't get in the way, of Christine. Because when he first pulls up, he's like, oh, he brought the junk heap, I see. And he says, don't talk to my car like that. She's sensitive.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, okay. Sorry, Christine.
Yeah.
And he
says, good boy.
He's mad at this point. He's turning straight LeVay by this point. Because he's talking about all the he's drinking. He never drinks. He's drinking beer. He's talking about toasting to killing all the shitters in the world. And he's like, well, how about we toast to like our friendship or whatever? He's like, that's a good one. Yeah, let's do that. And he's like, why would you want that? Why? I can't drink to that, Arnie. What's wrong? And he talks about love. He's like, love is all consuming. It's powerful, but once you feed it, it's worth it. You may have to sacrifice to feed it, but once you feed it, it's worth it. And he's like, that's how you feel about Lee? And he's like, fuck no. I'm talking about Christine. And it's just like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy is gone.
Checked
and he's
out.
driving like 100, drinking, throwing. What do you guys think of this bit?
Oh, man. The acting is just incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's aggravating to think that you would get in the car that is like your friend is drunk and driving 100 miles an hour, and that's horrifying and aggravating
it is
to me.
Very scary. But in his defense, he didn't know that he was drinking
when
he pulled up, and he was trying to save his friend, and this was the last straw. What do you think of this scene, Derek?
I do like the reveal when he's talking about that, and he's like, oh, about her, and then he's like, no, Christine. Like, it's very jarring.
Yeah.
And he's just like, what are you talking about? No, not her.
Yeah.
Because at one point, like, they were walking, and he was like, this was when he discovered that the car had gotten destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking about, like, maybe we should, like, apply to the same colleges so we can go to college together. And, after he's seen that, I mean, that was kind of like the breaking point. He snapped.
Yeah.
Like, hardcore at that point. But, yeah, I mean, at this point, he's totally gone. I mean,
yeah, we skipped over the bit that you were mentioned earlier where he has the confrontation with his parents.
Oh yeah,
and they offered to buy him a new car, and he
Yeah.
said, "You would like that, wouldn't you? Everybody wants me to get a new car. Fuck you." I was like, I wish my parents would have bought me just a brand new car. Like,
yeah. And
there's definitely some stuff going on though with those parents.
Oh yeah, they're not the best. They have issues.
Well, and they're like, that's the thing that's weird is that they're like doing the best they can, but they're doing too much, and they're being too controlling over his life and what he does with it, and that he has no freedom.
Yeah, but now he's went the opposite way, and he's like total disrespectful. Tells her to fuck off.
Yeah,
and then his dad confronts him finally.
Yeah.
and he says something along the lines of, fuck you too, or whatever, and he like grabs him and pushes him up against the wall, and then he grabs his dad by the throat and then slaps his face and says, I'm hitting the hay, and goes upstairs. So creepy, right?
It was
Yeah.
creepy. He also blamed his mom.
Yeah, he did blame his mom.
Like, this is all your fault.
Yeah,
Because
you
she
didn't
thought
let
it
me
would be an
park her here.
eyesore, Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which
I
is,
do feel bad because it's like if they would have been supportive, it probably wouldn't have turned out
no,
any better
it wouldn't
because
have
she's
mattered.
an evil car that is
because she's an
possessing
evil-
him.
Yeah.
But
yes.
at the same time, you're like, it
Buddy
would have made
Ripperton
their
again
lives.
might be alive.
Yeah, it might have made their lives a little bit easier
Yeah.
to like just let their child that they love have something that is their own.
Yeah.
I don't want to get sidetracked, but I'm going to tell you this little bit. So we were at the Boo Zoo this weekend, and there was a part where we were walking, and this little girl, because it's a bunch of little kids like dressed up in Halloween costumes and stuff like that, and she goes, "Where's my mask?" And her mom's like, "You idiot! It's right here." And I'm just like, once I got home, I was like, "Did you catch the part where that parent called her kid an idiot?" And she was like, "Oh, I did. I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
Oh no!
Anyway.
Wow. You're a
Artie's
terrible
parents-
person.
Talk about confidence building.
Yeah, if you listen to this, I think your parenting skills are pretty atrocious.
Not the
Just
best.
Oh my
FYI.
gosh!
Hey, fuckface, put on your mask.
Yeah, no kidding. Jesus!
God.
Wow.
That's rough.
It only would have been worse if she would have called her a dumbass, but I guess they were in public, so idiot
I mean,
had
some
disqualified.
people
idiot's
like
pretty bad, yeah.
some people.
I
Imagine
completely agree. I would never say
you
that to my son or my daughter.
call your children an idiot in public in front of people. Imagine what they're saying to their child, when
Yeah.
people aren't around.
Terrible.
Yeah. It was pretty
Wow.
Man, that's upsetting.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Sorry
Anyway,
anyway,
damn it.
so he cars into Christine Darnell's garage, and we get the final showdown. What do you guys think of this finale?
It's amazing.
Oh, it's so good.
Because at first I just assumed that it was just Christine.
Hmm.
And then so
Yeah,
like
I did
she's
too.
trying to kill she's really trying to kill what's her face.
Yeah, Lee.
competition.
Yeah,
Lee.
Yeah.
Really trying to kill her. And then she survives, but she's like wrecking into shit and stuff like that. And then she goes to, and they had a great plan. Actually, their plan was really great because they got a bulldozer.
yeah,
Yeah, this is fantastic. But so she's like wrecking into stuff, and she slams into the office, and boom, out goes Arnie through the front
Yeah.
windshield.
and there's a great shot that I love at the beginning of this scene where there's a great scare where Christine pops out. Like
Oh,
her
she's
headlights
hidden.
come on. She's hidden in the garage already.
Yes.
And her headlights come on, the music kicks in. I was like, ah, perfect.
How scary is that?
That's
It's
so
like,
good.
It's like
So
getting
good.
caught red-handed
Yeah,
by a car.
it's so good. And then, there's a shot before he wrecks into the thing where we see Arnie's in there and we see him like all creepy looking
Mhm.
with his like
Yeah.
darkened eyes.
Oh, that's a great shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, he flies out of the windshield. There's a really good jump scare here, too, that actually got me. I forgot about it. When Arnie jumps up and grabs her.
Yeah.
Because I in my head, I was remembering him with the glass. So I thought that she goes over and sees him with the glass. I forgot he jumps up. And when he did, I was like, damn you!
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, old boy
Derek,
got impaled.
yeah. So you like that reveal that Arnie was in the car?
I did. Well, I mean, the last time that and this is an assumption that I'm making, but like you assume that because she was on fire and all that stuff, she was just out killing people on her own.
Well,
but
and you know, when it comes back to the garage, it's empty. You know, when Darnell gets in there, so Arnie wasn't there at that point for sure.
Yep.
So, what do you guys think of Arnie's death? What do you guys think about Arnie dying?
It's so sad.
Kind of is, yeah.
I agree.
I mean, it's needed because he's, you know, crazy at this point, but it is sad that this obsession got the best of him. And when he's dying and he's touching Christine one more time and like rubbing her grill and stuff, sad and creepy at the same time.
They go out together. Well, almost.
Almost, yeah, not quite, because Christine is sentient, you know, is a sentient being. So she's goes
pissed.
right back after him. Yeah. And I love, Derek, what you're talking about with when Dennis pulls the bulldozer up against Lee and Christine can't get to her and she keeps ramming into it. And when she pulls back, her grill is like teeth.
Yeah.
It's like an open mouth.
That is so great.
Oh, that's so good. And then she goes into the darkness, and when she comes back, she's healed. She's regular again. And then, he ends up running her over with the bulldozer. Crushes her with the bulldozer. And then she starts to regenerate.
Yeah.
So he
has to run, like, keep going over her.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So cool.
Until finally the tires bust. And that's when it's like over finally. And then we get that smash cut to the Christine being just a cube of And we see that our heroes are with the detective and they're like, he's like, yeah, you guys are heroes. And he's like, no, if we were heroes, we would have been able to save Arnie. She's like, yeah, we're kind of pretty crappy heroes.
Yeah.
And he's like, some people just can't be saved no matter what you want, you know. Some things can't be helped, some people can't be saved. And we hear the rock music playing, the oldies, and it's some fucking construction guy walking by with a cigar. He's like,
yeah.
And she says, I hate rock and roll. Then we get that. Go ahead.
That was like a terrible like last line.
It's such a corny. It's fine. It's fine.
I
it's a
hate
corny
rock
line.
and roll.
But and then we push in on Christine and we see her start to heal herself and we end. What do you guys think of this ending?
One little like metal bar from the grill starts to
move. What do you guys think of this ending?
It's great. Except for the last line. I don't like the last line. But besides that, it's great. I like the fake out with the music. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I love this ending. It's a perfect way to end it, right? I mean, we start to just see a little bit and we're like, oh no, it's not over. And we get into Carpenter's kick-ass music.
Yeah, because a lot of times whenever you go to a horror movie, like there's the way that it ends and then the way that like you would have ended it. Like, oh man, I totally would have done this.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much how I would have envisioned killing a car that is possessed. Like, make that dang
thing. Take it to the junkyard. I mean, you're already in a junkyard. Yeah. You're already in a junkyard. You might as well junk that son of a bitch. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it was perfect. And then just the little move, it gives you that little sense of maybe she lives on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe she doesn't. Maybe she's too far gone.
Yeah. Maybe. We don't know.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
She's coming back.
And that is John Carpenter's adaptation of Stephen King's Christine. So, guys, let's start with you, Derek. What are you going to give John Carpenter's Christine?
I can't remember. I know that it was brought up on here, but I think you and I might have talked about it off camera. The concept of a killer car could be really bland,
and
but
stupid,
and kind of stupid. But like this movie completely overachieved for the idea. And I haven't read the novel, and I'm sure the novel is also very good.
It is good, The movie is a
complete-
different beast. Yeah.
Yeah, it completely overachieved on what it should have been. And I really do think that is probably one of my favorite kills of in any horror movie. Just the concept of this car that just blew up a gas station and now is driving down the highway completely on fire and it's chasing you. Like, okay,
Yeah.
think of the worst way you could die. Like, that's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, and there's some really great shots in this movie. There's the reveal under the bridge, the way that she kills that guy. The acting was really solid. And I will never look at this movie in the same light again because, like I said, I never associated this movie as a John Carpenter film. And then that's on me. I should have been like, oh, who's the director of this? Man, I'm going to give this movie a solid 9.75. I love this movie.
Yeah, it's great.
Yes.
Lydia, what are you going to give John Carpenter's Christine?
Well, you know me, and I have no problem handing out 10s to movies that I love. And this is such a good movie. It's so good. Honestly, I don't know, like, it's scary, it's suspenseful, it's beautiful. But I think really for me, like, the acting really stands out and just like the story. And I mean, the direction is, it's just a perfect movie. It's one of those perfect movies. It's like, I keep hitting my thing. Yeah, I'm just going to give it a 10. It's beautiful. It's just a beautiful film.
Yeah, I'm going to give this movie a 9 as well. It's very close to a 10 for me. It is just peak Carpenter. Like, everything works in it. Like, the music is awesome. The atmosphere is awesome. The shots are gorgeous. The beautiful anamorphic widescreen 2:3:5:1 ratio is beautiful. The way the lights hit the camera and you get those, beautiful lens flares. It's awesome. And the acting is really, really good. Like, better than it needs to be for an 80s horror movie, for sure. So it was like a great 1-2 punch. The Thing came out, which underachieved at the box office.
Oh my gosh!
People thought people thought it was a dud. And then Christine came out and was a box office hit. And now we look back on it and we're like, he made a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And then he made a damn close to masterpiece. Like, just back to back. John Carpenter in the 80s was firing on all cylinders, guys.
Gosh.
I do gotta say, if I were Stephen King and I watched this adaptation of Christine, I'd have been like, you know what? I think I want this guy to make all of them adaptations. I think imagine what he could have done with that.
Well, it has to fit Carpenter's sensibilities. I don't know how a Pet Carpenter directed Pet Sematary would have been, but Carpenter was originally supposed to direct Firestarter.
Oh.
Which we haven't done yet, but he was originally supposed to do that. The Thing underperformed. He was pulled off of Firestarter and then was handed Christine and turned in a movie way better than had any right to be.
Literally.
Yeah. I mean, I love Maximum Overdrive.
Yes.
But these are, as terms of quality, on opposite ends of the spectrum.
Oh yeah.
It's like, wow. So you have a similar concept and you hand it to John Carpenter and he's like, oh, stand back. I'm just going to make a fucking awesome flick.
Yes.
Just enjoy this. So yeah, beautiful. So guys, it's time to actinize Christine.
Thrill me. Thrill me. Thrill me.
Who would Tom Atkins? Who would John Carpenter cast Tom Atkins as in this movie?
Well, to typecast him, I guess he would be a really good cop.
He would not be that bad as that detective. That's kind of what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
I mean,
if he were the teacher, he definitely would have delivered those lines, and that one punk would have been like, I won't mess with you.
Well, yeah, I'm done.
It would have been a different scene.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
Harry Dean Stanton plays the detective, and he's great. Harry Dean Stanton's
Yeah.
great and everything. Hey, he wouldn't play the father because he wouldn't have been bitched out by Arnie. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess he would have to play either Harry Dean Stanton's character or Darnell, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I think we'll go with the detective.
Yeah. I think it would do good.
All right, guys, what are we watching next week? Lydia, it's your choice. We already know what it is, but tell our viewers what we're watching next week.
So next week, we are going to be watching The Night of the Living Dead.
George A. Romero's 1960s classic, Night of the Living Dead. Night of the Living Dead. Let's see where Night of the Living Dead is. So we have to make sure we put 68 because if we put we'll have to do the 90s remake of that at some point too because it's pretty good. So Night of the Living Dead is streaming everywhere, of course, because it is in the public domain.
Yeah.
So you can watch it literally anywhere. But I would recommend watching it on Peacock because it's a 4K or like the 4K version or HBO Max, which is the 4K scans, I do believe. So those are the better quality. You don't want to watch it on like something that like YouTube. Probably doesn't have a very good scan of it, but they might have 4K scans of it on YouTube. Who knows? But it's literally available anywhere, which is really unfortunate that it was in the public domain. George Romero lost out on a lot of money, unfortunately, because of that mistake. Sad. So, next week, Night of the Living Dead. Derek, do you have a story for us tonight? You said you were going to tell us one story, and do you have another one?
What story was I going to tell you?
You
About smacking a teacher's butt.
Oh. So anyway, I was in the lunchroom one day, and this guy I was friends with started walking this way, and I'm like, I went to give him 5, and I missed. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna like swing around and give him a high 5 again, I guess. So like I swung around and I had my hand out like this because I was like, gonna give him 5. And this one of the cutest teachers in our entire school, that she was a gym teacher, was behind me. I didn't know it, and man, I smacked her butt really hard. She jumped. She was woo. And she looked down at me and she was like, Derek, I didn't know you were like that. And I was like, I'm not. I didn't do it on purpose. I swear it was a complete accident. She didn't like reprimand me or anything. So she
was into it, man.
She liked it.
It was either she was into it or she just realized that I had made a mistake. But
well, she probably didn't want to embarrass you further. She was like, your face was probably like beet red.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was.
She probably saw your face.
Yeah. But
it was like,
she was
this poor kid.
Really, really pretty, and I felt really, really bad because I did not mean to do that. But yeah, anyway.
Hey,
Derek in junior high was awkward.
Yeah.
Not much has changed in my adult years, but
some would say you weren't even happening at all.
You SOB. You SOB. Lydia, ever heard that one?
Oh, what?
You've heard this one.
Probably.
I watched the Brady Bunch movie, and I was like,
oh, yeah.
Outside playing.
Yeah. Poor
and
kid.
that groovy chick just shot me down.
You're not happening at all.
Groovy chick.
You're happening
Hey
in
there,
a far
groovy
out way.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, it's a good one.
To her credit, that was the perfect comeback to that line.
It was.
Oh,
She
yeah.
nailed it.
Yeah, she had one shot and she just knocked it out of the park.
She's still groovy to this day.
She's still.
Probably, I don't even know who
Yep.
it was. It was just some random girl that was walking down the street. That's how it goes.
Those are the best to just yell at.
I think I know her.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Went on many dates afterwards. She kept saying, man, there's some weird kid that lives down the road.
called me groovy. What does
And
that
I was
even
like,
mean?
groovy. I was like, was it Bruce Campbell? She's like, for the 14th time, it wasn't Bruce Campbell. It's like, damn it. I was going to go hang out with him. So that's our show. You guys got anything else? Watch Christine. Watch it, and let us know what you think. It's a good one. It's a great time. It's one of my favorites of the season so far. It's, Christine and Jaws are the two best, I think, so far this season. So, if there's nothing else, be sure to follow us on social media. Like, share, and subscribe. Get all your friends. Tell them to watch the show. Let us know what movies you want us to do down below. We have our Halloween lineup picked out. So, following Halloween, we have an open slate. We need to hit up the Hellraiser movies here soon. I watched the new one, by the way, over the weekend. So we'll talk about off mic what I think of that. Be sure to follow us on social media. You can follow us on Facebook at HiLa Productions. You can follow us on Instagram at Screen Bloody Movies. You can follow us on Twitter you can follow Lydia at Lydia Spooky. You can follow Derek at DDoglyMaster, and you can follow me at Racket. Be sure to check out HiLaProductions.com for all of your merch. And we will have some movie updates coming up soon for the next short. It is due to film this weekend. So, part 2 of the shoot. I'm editing as we speak. So, if there's nothing else, for Derek Lemaster and Lydia Judy, I am Jamie Hiles. And remember, if you're going to scream bloody movies.